Hello.
Greetings.
Gonna turn up the microphone a bit.
We is here.
We is.
We did an episode relatively recently, correct?
Yeah, we did one earlier this week.
Cool. Well, we're doing another shorter one.
This
to
will
make
probably
up
be
for...
uploaded the week after.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna try to do two when whatever week this ends up getting uploaded in. To make up. And this one's gonna be kind of short to make up for the fact that we haven't really been doing it.
It'll probably be pretty short.
We always say that, and then we go for, way longer than we anticipated. So, we'll see.
We'll see what may happen. We'll figure it out. Anyway, there'll be two, because we're really terrible at this, even though it should be the easiest thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we saw Spider-Man Far From Home on the 4th of July.
Yes.
It's been 2 days since
Yes.
that. And I already want to go see it again. So,
I've never had such a strong desire to just watch. Usually when I see a movie in theaters, I'm just like, yep, well, I'm good until, comes out on, DVD and streaming. Then I'll probably, watch it again eventually, maybe. But Marvel movies, I've watched most of those a couple times.
Yeah.
But,
now you're just, ready to go,
It's I've never had such a strong we watched Endgame in theaters twice. We saw The Force Awakens in theaters twice, but that wasn't so much because we were just so driven to go see it again. We just, got the chance to go see it again.
It's because our family was gonna go see Deadpool together, and then my mom Googled more about Deadpool and was like, we're not doing that, and then we would kind of thank Christ. And then, so our dad and our brother went and saw it, and then we saw The Force Awakens, which, probably worked out well, because Deadpool's not really a movie you want to watch with, your parents.
Yeah, not really. But that wasn't we really wanted to see it again. We were like, yeah, that sounds fun.
I was totally down. It was epic.
Yeah, I was really, really prepared to see it again. We went on our own to a theater to go see Endgame again. Because we just really wanted to.
Yeah.
And it's that doesn't happen to me, ever. And now it's happening, twice within, a month.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it was really good. I definitely enjoyed it. I was very nervous because, it's we're gonna be spoiling the shit out of this movie in case you haven't noticed.
And probably Endgame, too.
And Endgame, so if you haven't seen either of those movies, well, if you haven't seen Endgame, don't watch Far From Home unless you don't care about being spoiled for it, and then we're spoiling both those movies because Far From Home comes out right after Endgame, and Endgame was such a big thing with so many big repercussions in it that it's they had to do some follow-up on that. And I was very nervous because it's the first movie after Endgame, and I was talking to my friend who had already seen it because he always sees them on the opening day. And then I was like, ooh, I don't know, I'm a little nervous. I don't think I'm prepared. And then he just said, you're not. And then didn't elaborate at all. He said nothing else. And I was like, Christ, alright. Cool. Can't wait to die, I guess. But it
there was nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah, I was really... I thought I was gonna be, crying on the floor. I thought there was gonna be something really, harrowing that was gonna happen. But it was a lot
The next movie seems like it might be a bit harrowing.
Yeah, but it was a lot like most Marvel movies. It's a fun action movie where you're not shitting your pants worried about there were some sad parts, some parts that had me upsetty spaghetti, obviously, but I wasn't worried that Spider-Man was gonna die, with Infinity War and Endgame, you just sit there and you're so nervous that these people that you love are going to die horribly, and you didn't have that with Far From Home. You know?
just went back to like, I'm gonna assume everyone makes it out of here alive. Like, that was a safe. Like, maybe sometimes you get like a little bit worried, but you never, like, you're always pretty sure they're gonna make it out alive. Like with most movies, generally.
Yeah. So, that was pretty nice. I was kind of glad to not have have anxiety become a factor when watching a movie.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, don't like that kind of, like, plot armor, is what most people say, where it's like, you don't think they're gonna die. It's like, I personally, don't mind not having to fear that, because I'm unreasonably attached to these characters.
Yeah, it's like, I really don't mind not having to worry. Maybe that's partially because I spent, like, my entire childhood terrified that my favorite Star Wars character was gonna die, because I have this horrible habit of getting really attached to not, like, major characters, but, like, not, like, main characters. And so, like, they could just get... It was in the Clone Wars, and he's a clone.
Like,
and
the TV show, not
Attack of the Clones.
Not
the
Attack of
the Clone. The Clone was the animated show. And, like, my favorite character is a clone. And clones die a lot in the Clone Wars. And even the ones that are major characters, so I was very scared.
My favorite was Ahsoka, and she wasn't a clone, but she wasn't in any of the other movies.
Basically, both of our characters weren't in any of the movies, so it was pretty much like, oh, these people could just die at any second. They probably will, because they gotta get rid of them somehow, because they're not in the movies.
So there was that.
That was harrowing, so that probably kind of made me more...
That was also a tangent.
Yeah, but it's slightly related, because I feel like that's part of the reason why I don't have any problem at all with plot armor.
Let's psychoanalyze our feelings about fictional films.
Give me the plot armor. I don't want to be scared.
I don't care. I just want them to live, and if I'm pretty sure they're going to live, that is perfectly okay with me. I don't give a shit. I want my boy to be happy. I don't want him dead on the floor somewhere. Anyway. I feel like that's not unreasonable. So that was nice.
Yeah.
The first, like, half of it was actually pretty chill, generally. And then the second half just goes, like, batshit wild.
It really do, don't it?
It's, like, 2/3 of the movie happen in the second half.
It's very strange.
Which isn't, like, a bad thing. Like, I don't care about, like, just because the start of the movie was, like, a little more chill and laid back doesn't mean it wasn't, like, really entertaining.
Yeah, it just wasn't, like, super action, high stakes, ooh woo. It was just like, look at
Spider-Man hanging out with his friends.
Look at Spider-Man having a good time.
And us talking about some of the repercussions of Endgame. And then anyway, we're just gonna go right off the rails.
Now everyone's on crack.
Now everything's on fire. Anyway.
Or is it?
Or is it? Is it real fire? So anyway, yeah, it was really good. Started off strong, there was that scene that was, they added at the end of the credits of Endgame. It's just Nick Fury and Agent Hill going to some disaster site where they run into Mysterio. And then there's the Marvel logo. And then you are greeted with a black screen. Just says, in memoriam, in Comic Sans. And you were treated to a really shitty memorial slideshow to all of the dead Avengers. which is really quite a power move there. Just kill off / some other way, get rid of 4 of your characters, then immediately followed up with a shitty slideshow.
And they were playing, like, And I Will Always Love You by Whitney Houston, and then they just, they were just like, oh, here's Vision. Here's a really shitty low-res picture of Vision. Here's Natasha, because you weren't sad enough about her. And then we're gonna just have a picture of Tony from Iron Man 1. Not even like a picture that represents who he is as a person. He's like surrounded by military planes. And then it just goes, and then we're gonna fade to a picture of some candles that says Getty Images. The audacity! The absolute barbaric energy!
I was simultaneously really offended and also, cry laughing.
I was legitimately choking in my theater seat out of both anger and laughter.
The hardest I'd laughed since, that patience thing that they did at the end of the other Spider-Man movie.
They're just really out here disrespecting.
So that was
phase.
A bold move. Then we treated through some expositional dialogue from the newscasters.
Which is a pretty good way to give out expositional dialogue.
Yeah, I don't mind expositional dialogue because I'm not a freak.
Yeah, why do you not want to know what's going on, Cinema Sins?
Okay.
Why do you not want to know what's going on? And then, why do you not want what's going on to be explained to you, but then when you don't know what's going on, you get mad? That's just the tea for today, folks.
Anyway, it's just, sometimes... it's probably not the best way to give exposition, but, as long as you make the expositional dialogue, entertaining. And when you're on, a time constraint like you are in the movie, no one wants it to be, a 7-hour movie. I'd still watch it if it was a 7-hour movie.
They made a 3-hour movie, and it's made, $200 billion.
So... there's that. They basically just talk about the blip, which no one will call it ever.
It is a funny detail because we all got so used to calling it the snap.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, I didn't really think about what they were going to call it in universe, but it's most people don't know that it was a snap. They don't even really know what it was.
You think the Avengers would have, explained it somewhat. To the world, but then, I doubt, even if they did, they found it very important to mention the fact that there was a snap.
Yeah, so they call it the blip.
And they talk about, some of the things people were wondering. People do just appear back where they were.
Yeah.
Does that mean if someone was in an airplane, do they just, fall?
God, I hope not. Maybe they just appear in that airplane.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, the actual specific location. Not, geographical coordinates.
Who knows? So they have some funny shots of, a marching band reappearing on a basketball court and just accidentally decking some basketball players and stuff. Then they have, a charity event thing. We usually don't just, summarize the movie, but you're not, helping me much here.
I was just letting you seemed like you had a point that you were going for.
No, I was just floundering. Please.
Alright, okay. So, I expected the Iron Man stuff to make me, really sad. And it did kind of make me sad. Every time there was Iron Man art somewhere, which was, every other shot in the goddamn movie, which was kind of cool because it's wow, look how far his influence is. Everyone loves him. it's all around the world, and it was like, hell yeah. But it was kind of like a kick in the face every time I just had to see that.
It'd just be like, it wasn't even like a focus of a lot of the shots. It'd just be like in the background, you could see like a slightly out of focus Iron Man.
Yeah. And, you know, that made me sad. But, like, a lot of the stuff where they mentioned Tony kind of, like, made me happy.
Yeah.
But in kind of, like, a sad way. Like, it was, like, comforting, which is very... I, like, care so much. I care... My heart is in so much pain over a fictional character. But, like... I legitimately, like, felt better after watching the movie about Tony dying. Like, it was comforting. It felt like working through grief.
Humans are strange creatures, aren't we?
And then there was, like, the Edith glasses, which really kind of punched me in the face, too.
Even dead, I am the hero.
Even dead, I'm the hero. That's like, the way that Peter reacted is how I reacted. Like, he kind of smiled and was kind of like, he kind of laughed and shook his head. And it was like a little bit sad, but it was also like, Tony.
Of course.
Of course. It was like such an in-character thing for Tony to do, and it makes you a little bit sad. But it also, like, it's like, you know...
It was just funny.
It was just funny. It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
I did enjoy, with the charity event, I did enjoy, did you just send Nick Fury to voicemail? Like, Nick's he's really got his work cut out for him, because, like, the Avengers are, like, I don't even know what's up with them.
Technically, there are some of them left.
There are some of them left. I feel like
most of them are left.
I feel like they're just kind of, like, they're done, you know? Like, they're like, we deserve some rest, a break. And now he's like, alright, I gotta find more superheroes to help me sort my shit out. I mean, this 16-year-old will probably listen to me, and then he just fucking doesn't.
Spider-Man is an Avenger.
Yeah.
Very informal. Tony just told him he was an Avenger. So I guess I guess it kind of makes sense that they don't know what's going on with the Avengers. Because it's like, you know, before Infinity War, they just didn't exist anymore. They just disbanded after Civil War, I guess.
Yeah.
Then they got back together for Infinity War, and then that turned out horribly, and then they fell apart again, with just a couple of them, like, kind of being like, yeah, trying to stop the world from falling apart.
Yeah.
And then they got back together again for Endgame, and then the two leaders died. One of them didn't die.
One of them didn't die, but he's
not
out of action.
He retired, essentially.
He's tired of this shit.
Which is perfectly valid.
He's done enough.
So I guess it kind of makes sense that they'd kind of be like, eh.
He's just getting disrespected by, like, a high school student. He's like, I thought you wanted to be a goddamn Avenger. And now you're like, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. Fuck you, kid. Come help Jake Gyllenhaal. So yeah, that was pretty funny. I dig that. Back to, like, the Edith thing. I thought that was just a very good thing to include. It's very nice. You know, really shows that Tony really looking out for his boy. His son.
Nice. He's just like, left him his glasses. And then you're like, oh, glasses. And you put them on. It's just like AI glasses with fucking defense.
Let's send a drone strike after the dude that's flirting with your crush. I did see, like,
again,
some...
with him, it was... That had, like, the same energy as, like, activating instant kill. No.
Like, why does Tony keep giving this child, like, death weapons?
To be fair, instant kill was originally like, roped off by that training wheels
That's true.
thing.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I had another point.
You wrote it down, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I saw some headcanons where, like, people gave, like, Edith, or, like, a version of Edith, like, Tony's voice, and I think that would have been a really cool touch, but it also might have ruined me completely.
That would have been a little much. That was a thing in the comics, though.
Yeah.
Like, Tony dies at one point, and then he's just replaced by an AI version of it.
That apparently happens to a hell of a lot of people in the comics.
Everything happens to everyone in the comics. Comics are wild. They don't give a
Everyone
shit.
dies. Everyone comes back to life. Everyone's replaced by a robot. Every crack ship you've ever thought of in your wildest dreams or drunkest moments has happened in the comics.
I feel like that's a bit of an exaggeration.
Tony and Gamora were a thing in the comics.
Okay, maybe.
They didn't even speak to each other in the MCU. They didn't even look at each other.
Anyway. Moving on from that. So then there's that, like, elemental garbage, which wasn't nearly as tense. You know, that was supposed to be, like, the plot of the fucking movie. So when they were fighting, like, the strongest one, halfway through, I was like, is it over already?
I was like, I feel like it's only been like 20 minutes.
I feel like not a whole lot has happened. It can't be over already. I mean, I know this always feels shorter than I expect them to, but, like...
And then they were like, haha, you fools. Bamboozled. I did really like... There was a lot of solid twists in this movie, and I like
one.
what...
There's one twist.
There's a couple.
There's one.
And
one
I like...
twist.
Blocked and reported, but we'll get to that later. I like the take that they had on Mysterio.
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, the twists... We're not going to talk about this in chronological order. It was jumping all over the place. I liked the twist. I was half expecting Mysterio to be a bad guy, because he was a villain in the comics. And so I was kind of like, are they going to make him evil? It's probably. Especially because they were fighting, like, the big guy, and it felt like it was only 20 minutes into the movie, and I was like, okay, there's gotta be...
See, I was not expecting it, because I knew he was a bad guy in, like, the comics. I just figured that they just changed it.
Uh-huh. Well, I wondered if they were gonna do that twist, or if they did just change it, and then when, like, the movie, like, the climax of the movie was so early in, I was like, okay, I think he's probably going to be evil, but they still did it in, like, a different way than I was expecting. Like, well, one, I think it was interesting that they had him use technology and not actually be magic, because he's actually magic in the comics.
Yeah, it's like he was a Doctor Strange villain in the comics. No.
Was he? I don't know.
It seems like, you know, comic books tend to just give superheroes and then their supervillains similar powers for some fucking reason.
I don't know.
So it would make more sense for him to be a Doctor Strange villain, but I feel like he was also a Spider-Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
There are a lot of times people run into the same villains because they're in the same universe and they tend to run into each other a lot more than they do in the MCU. So
yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they had, like, technology instead of magic, and then I also think it was really funny how they basically just made Mysterio like an anti-Tony Tumblr blogger. Like, he's like, Tony deserves to have his reputation ruined, and I take his place as the world's greatest hero because he turned my invention for weaponry into a therapeutic device and then called it barf. And then he fired me for being crazy, which is totally uncool, so let's go murder a bunch of people in London.
to prove that I'm the best.
to prove that I'm not crazy and Tony was totally unjustified.
To prove he was totally wrong about me being unstable, I'm gonna go murder some people because I was fired.
I'm gonna go throw his protege in front of a train because I'm not crazy.
I'm gonna throw a 15-year-old in front of a train because that's what stable people do when someone is kind of a bit rude to them. Obviously.
Like, he was just really grasping for straws as to why
God,
Tony
it's like the
sucks.
dude in Iron Man 3 again. Where he's like, I'm totally justified in becoming a fucking murderer because the dude was mildly rude to me in the fucking 90s.
Yeah, it's like, that's legit how every anti-Tony person on Tumblr is. They're like, he was mean to somebody one time, so he sucks. Or like, I disagreed with him in Captain America Civil War, so that means he's garbage and the worst human ever conceived. It's like, alright, cool. So I thought that was pretty funny that he was like, can't believe Tony Stark fired me for being crazy, so I'm going to destroy London and then become the world's greatest superhero, because that's a sane plan. I'm totally stable.
So yeah, here's his faking it. That was the twist. The elementals weren't real. He wasn't from another universe. He was just a crazy dude.
Yeah, that was really that really kind of felt like, you know, getting the carpet pulled out from under you. Like, they're like, multiverse, elementals, and then they're like, actually, none of those are real, but we're not gonna like super expressly say that. So you gotta be like we're gonna tell you that Mysterio was lying, and then you gotta be like, wait, so was he like not from a different Earth?
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. But like for a second watching the movie, I was like, so like, is he just from our Earth, or is he still from a different Earth, but that Earth just had Tony do the same thing that he did in Civil War?
Well, then he would be getting revenge on him on his Earth, because the only reason he was supposedly here was because the elementals were going to reappear and his Earth had been destroyed.
Yeah,
so,
that's what I got there. But like when they first like did the reveal that he was a villain, I was like, wait, like I needed to catch up for a second. I was like, is he from a different thing? And I'm like, no, he can't be, because the elementals aren't real either, and they're the whole reason why he's here.
He would just be fucking shit up in his own universe.
Yeah, not coming over here and bugging us.
So there's that.
Yeah.
That really, and that's when things really started to go batshit. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting to remove the multiverse from a movie, and that's where things get, like, crazy.
Yeah.
Like, to shake it up, you know, to make this movie a little more interesting. We're gonna eliminate, like, the multiverse aspect and the giant element monsters. We're gonna take those out. It's just a guy now. Anyway, prepare for the insanity.
He's just a man with some technology. And, hey, you remember that scene from Doctor Strange that would have, like, been really disorienting if you saw it in, like, 3D? Well, what if we took that scene and then just had, like, an evil crackhead man be running the show, and basically make it way more disorienting, and then also really unsettling.
That was so disorienting, because it's like, they did such a good job with it, because it's like, obviously it was going to be really, really disorienting for Peter, but it's like, you could tell, because you also had no idea what was going on. Like, towards the end of it, they started cutting, like, to reality, like, a bit, like, showing, like, when they showed shots of Mysterio, it'd just be him walking in, like, a fucking parking lot.
Yeah.
So, like, you could tell, but, like, before that, it was, like, How much of this was real? How much of it was fake? Did they just shoot Nick Fury? Is he dead? Probably not. They wouldn't have made a bigger deal out of it if he was, but maybe he was, like, actually... But, like, was he actually shot? Probably. No, he wasn't. Wait, no, what?
Like, they really just, like...
Where is he? Not an office building, a parking garage. Wait, what's happening? Oh, now they're in, like, a hallway void thing. What?
Like, they really did a good job of just completely fucking with you, because it is, like, you know, it had... It was really like the Doctor Strange thing, and then, like, everything's, like, melding together and changing, but then they made it, like, way more ominous and way more, like, disorienting because, like, things ended way more abruptly, and instead of it being like, let's see these smooth but wild transitions because the world is so much more than you thought it was. It's just like, oh, you thought you were in a parking lot? Boom, now you're on the Eiffel Tower. Ooh, you're running? Ooh, you just smacked your face into a wall. Haha, you're so stupid. Oh, look, MJ's here. She's about to die. Yeah, you better jump after her. Ooh, you just hit the floor. That's cool. It was like, just... Ooh, look, it's Tony Stark's grave. Now he's crawling out of the grave.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, holy shit, dude.
And then they're like, oh, wait, no, it's okay. He's just in the parking lot still. He never left the parking lot. Which might have still been true. But it's just like, haha, psych. And it's like, oh, hey, here's Nick Fury. He's alive still. Oh, and they just took Mysterio down. Haha, psych, all of that was fake. They are really in the parking lot, though. But now Spider-Man just got hit with a fucking train.
Now he's in the Netherlands. Fuck you.
That wasn't an illusion thing, that's just where the train brought him.
Yeah, you're right.
After he just crawled into it and then just passed out.
That's
getting hit by a fucking train, holy shit.
It was absolutely the wackest shit. It was... absolutely buck wild.
That was like the most beat up I've seen any of like the Marvel heroes, other than maybe in Endgame when they use the Infinity Stone.
Yeah, that's
they look pretty scorched then too.
It's just like Jesus Christ,
it seems like,
man.
you know, like bullets and punches don't really seem to like ever do that much damage to them.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's like usually part of their superpowers, but it's like, you know, you'd think it would still make like physical marks, but it like doesn't.
Yeah.
But then he got hit by a fucking train, and he was still alive. He could like walk and shit, so like still very durable there.
It was just so absolutely buck wild.
Like,
I had no idea what was real.
Like, what a way to end such a... Like, they literally end the most disorienting scene in, like, any movie ever with him just getting hit by a fucking train.
That's how you feel sitting in that seat watching that. You feel like you also got hit by a train. You're like, what's even real anymore? You know? It's very well done. Very excellent. There's just like so many moments where they just pull the carpet out from under you, where they're just like, bitch, you thought. And then especially like what you were saying with the Nick Fury thing, where it's just like, oh, Nick Fury, he's here. Oh no. He's like, oh god, no, Hill, this is a simulation. Oh, he's shot. Oh, he's...
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Before jumping into the illusion thing, they made it seem like, oh haha, the whole like office building place and all the agents, they were an illusion. And then there was like, nope, that thing that we said was real. Like, and then they like, you know, revealed they like got rid of the illusion stuff so you could see what was real. And then it's like, no, none of that stuff that they revealed to be real was actually real. That was still part of a fucking illusion.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, Nick Fury's shot. Oh no, he's not dead. He just took out Mysterio. No, that was Mysterio. Does that mean Nick Fury's dead? No, he's still alive. In fact, he wasn't even there the whole time.
Peter never found him.
He doesn't even know about what happened. Oh, and then, by the way, he's not even...
in the movie!
In the movie!
That was an illusion tech, though.
That wasn't Mysterio. That was just him deciding to take a fake beach vacation and have a Skrull pretend to be him for a while. Which, I mean, I guess he deserves a break, too.
Yeah, he did fucking die.
He did straight up decease.
So, you know, there's that. That...
Buck wild! Absolutely
so
not
then Peter's
okay.
in the Netherlands.
Woo! And then Happy shows up.
Yeah.
And then he's got to make Happy prove that he's happy.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that, I mean, if you're watching this, you've probably seen the movie, but we forgot to talk about, when Peter just gave the glasses thing to Mysterio, because he was like, you're better at this than I am.
I'm not the next Iron Man, you are. And then he was like, haha, that was easy. And then you're like, ah, fuck.
Shit.
Ah, shit, bitch. Ah, you dick.
And it was so... It sucked, too, because I really liked him. I liked Mysterio. He seemed so nice, and he was so cool.
And then he was just like, haha, I give you a 50-50 chance, kid. You're pretty awkward. And then he's like, oh, how lovable. And then it's like, fuck you.
It's like,
he
that's
sucks.
always the worst when, like, a character you really like and they're like, haha, they're evil. That doesn't happen to me often. But,
No, it doesn't.
they did that in this one, and then it was immediately, like, a complete 180 in my feelings. So it's like, once again, I was like, he's so great. And he's so nice to Peter, and he's so chill, and you dick. You're the worst.
You're just the shittest. But I mean, it's a really cool scene. He had, like, interesting, not powers, but, like, things happening.
Yeah,
Projector tech.
He didn't have any powers.
He was just a guy.
He couldn't fight. He didn't even, like, fight very well.
No. He
Like-
kind of just, like, got absolutely wrecked.
Like, as soon as you got through the, like, the drone weapon things, like, you could just, it didn't take Peter long to just, once he got through all the drones, to just fucking
Annihilate him.
just to wipe him out.
Yeah. That was also a big moment, because, I mean, like, he hasn't really, like, killed anyone before, you know?
Like, there's that thing in Endgame with insta-kill, but, like, those things weren't really, like, humanoid or, like, sentient. It doesn't seem like... We don't know much about them, but the things that were attacking him, they seem more like wild animals
Yeah.
than, like attack dogs.
Yeah, and
From
then,
space.
and then, like, in his first movie, he put himself in danger to save the guy he was fighting, and then in this one, he fucking dies.
Peter didn't kill him, though.
No.
He was just, like, he just told the drones to shoot at Peter, and they missed and hit him.
Yeah.
He fucking died.
You could still tell it was very, shooketh for Peter.
Well, yeah, he had quite the day.
He really did. They really did him dirty. Give him a break. Let him rest.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's getting one of those anytime soon.
Yeah, you're very correct. 'Cause that end scene was a pretty big twist as well.
Yeah,
It
we
was
didn't get to the part, like, after Happy showed up. Which was, like,
Oh
the
yeah,
best
that was
part.
like the best scene. Is when he gets on the plane, he has a really good heart-to-heart with Happy about missing Tony. And, you know, Happy gives him some encouragement. And then...
Just basically just, like, don't worry about trying so hard to live up to Tony, because Tony was a fucking mess.
Tony couldn't even live up to Tony.
He was a human disaster. You don't have anything to worry about.
He was absolutely shit at everything, and he's still, like, the best guy I know. So, like, maybe just don't try so hard. And then...
Don't even worry about massively fucking something up. He did that, like, every other week.
Yeah, and then they have this scene. The scene where, like, Peter starts building his suit, and he's, like, already, like, knowing what to do with the technology, and it's, like,
He's got,
such...
like, Like, it's that, like, hologram kind of stuff that Tony always used to build his suits.
Yeah. And then
Like,
you could just see Happy's face, and Happy was like, you know, they made it pretty obvious that it was like, ooh, he looks like Iron Man. Then you see Happy's face. He looks so proud.
he looks so
proud.
Like,
And then he just goes, you take care of the suit, I'll take care of the music. And I was like, I know exactly what you're doing. And then they start playing the song from Iron Man 1 when Tony's building his suit.
What was the noise?
I'm emotional, leave me alone.
No, Happy just looked super proud. You know, Peter just strolled up to, like, the hologram thing and just started using it, like, so naturally. Like,
I know. It was so good.
Happy just looked really happy.
Yeah.
And then they played that song. Peter was just like,
I love Led Zeppelin.
which I'd love to make fun of him for it, but I didn't catch the joke because I don't know what fucking Led Zeppelin sounds like.
Yeah, I only really got that there was. I kind of guessed what the joke was because everyone in the theater was like laughing like way harder than I thought was warranted because it was kind of funny, but it was also kind of like, you know, just kind of sweet. And then they were all like, ah, ha, ha, and I was like, oh, that's probably not a Led Zeppelin song. And then I looked in the credits, and they were like, AC/DC, and I was like, ah, cool.
Peter.
Ah, Peter.
I just thought it was like, they have the same music taste, but no, they don't.
No, they don't. That just kind of makes it even a little bit sweeter. Cause
he seems like he liked the song, though.
He seemed like he was digging it, and I liked that he, like, you know.
Oh, Peter.
He was trying so hard. But that was probably my favorite scene in the whole goddamn movie. I just remember
that one line where it was like, you know, he got the glasses and there was like the note and stuff, and then it was just like, he said you wouldn't get it because it's not a Star Wars reference.
Yeah. Just love the movie. It was so good. And, like, everything was good. All of it. Not one bad thing in the whole movie. But that was probably my favorite scene.
Yeah, it was
just got me right.
Me soft.
Got me right in the heart. Right in the
feelings.
Right in my feelings.
Right, my emotions.
The only thing that I have left written down is Ned and MJ are gifts to the earth, and I would die for them.
It's a fair enough observation, I think.
Yeah.
They were, in fact, in this movie. We haven't talked about them yet.
They were. I really like them. They're really good characters. MJ is way better of a love interest than the last one. Who was just kind of like Goyle.
Goyle, basically.
Goyle in movie.
She didn't have, like, a lot of screen time, so it makes sense that she didn't have, like, a ton of development.
Yeah.
But yeah, MJ, I'm glad she got a lot more screen time in this one than she did in the other one, because I always thought she was hilarious.
She's just, like, this, like, smart, sarcastic punk rock chick that, like, has a really dark sense of humor and took out some drones with a mace that she stole from the queen. It's like, what's not to love?
I know, she's great,
absolutely
and then
nothing's
Ned
not great.
continues to be great.
He does. He was great, has always been great, continues to be great. He's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's pretty much all I have written down.
Well, there was, the climax was pretty wild.
Oh, yeah.
It's like faking, a giant elemental thing. I liked the coded message that Happy sent, and then at first you feel like, at first I was like, did he, like, get the code? And then I was like, yes, that was just part of the code. And then I liked when Mysterio was like, haha, got him now, they totally believe me, and was like, it's drawing power from the earth core, and then it just looks over at Booyah, I was just like, now that's some bullshit.
That's some shit. that makes no goddamn sense. It was really good. I liked how they handled the climax, because it wasn't like this huge big fight really, and it was still kind of disorienting. It's very good.
Peter knocking out some drones. I always like the way he fights. He has such a cool fighting style because of his powers. Like, just lend himself really well to that, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, he does that cool thing where he, like, did that, like, slingshot thing and caught a bunch of the drones and, like, the bridge.
I also saw someone point out in that one scene where he, like, threw something on that, like, repulsor thing so that all the drones would, like, shoot at each other and, like, blow up. And then, like, he used the repulsor thing to, like, launch him up. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they didn't shoot at each other. He, like, threw something in there to see if they would shoot at, then he threw something that would blow up.
Yeah, that's what they did. Well, someone pointed out that when he did that, it was kind of like an homage to, like, the main three Avengers, because he was using that part of the sign like a shield, and then the thing that he was holding in his other hand looked like a hammer that had an arc reactor on it.
Oh.
Nice. And, if it was anything other than Marvel, I might be like, maybe that was a coincidence, but there's no way they didn't do that on purpose.
So then Mysterio fucking bites it.
He fucking bites it.
Because he's so fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. And then they have the end credit scene where they reveal Peter's identity, and then he kind of sets him up to be...
He uses some edited footage.
Yeah, some hashtag fake news.
To make it seem like Peter was the one that sent the attack on London.
Yeah, and I thought that was very interesting because, well, one, when Edith was like, would you like me to cancel all, like, things? I forget exactly what she said. And he goes, yeah, execute them all. I was like, that's gonna bite him in the ass, isn't it? Like, yeah, they're gonna, like, start attacking people.
She said, like, would you like me to execute all cancellation protocols? Yeah. Which is, like, a normal thing for a computer to say to you.
Yeah.
But the way he said it, I was like, that was a little weird. That can't, like, mean nothing.
Yeah, I was like, I expected all the drones to, like, start going after people, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, oh, I guess it's okay, and then the edited footage came up, and I was like, oh. And then I also thought it was interesting, because it was like, okay, there was, like, the part...
Fireworks.
It's not July 4th anymore, assholes.
Don't you love illegal fireworks?
But,
it always goes really well.
Yes. And then there was, like, that part where, like, the simulation went down and everything just kind of disappeared. And then he, like, kind of was like, okay, get the simulation back up and, like, do this and do that. And that one guy was like, I don't know how you're gonna spin this. And then Mysterio just kind of smirks.
And I was like, they'll see what I want them to see. And I was like, oh, God.
Yeah, and then,
I
forgot about it until after... I forgot about it until after the movie, and I was like, oh, shit, that's what he was talking about. And then that's also what he was talking about when he was, like, fucking dying, and was just like... He was just like, you'll see, they'll believe anything these days.
Yeah.
Those were, like, his dying words, and he knew that it was just because he was going to get, like, absolutely sum out. And then somebody else pointed out that in the thing, he mentioned that Peter was using Stark technology, which kind of, and, people were like, oh, well, like, Spider-Man was, like, Tony Stark's, like, protege, and, like, and, like, Peter Parker had a Stark internship, and it's, like, kind of, like, reassociating Tony with, like, terrorism.
Good.
To kind of ruin his reputation.
Even though most people would logically be like, he died and saved the universe, I'm sure. Even if they do believe that Spider-Man did this, then it's like they would just assume
That had nothing to do with Tony.
Yeah, he just, like, accidentally, like, whoops, fucked it up. Made a mistake.
Yeah. But I just thought that was very interesting. It's definitely, I think, you know, people are like, it has the wildest, most important end screen in the MCU. And, like, I, like, knowing that, I kind of expected it to be a lot more, like, off-the-walls bonkers. But I think it is the most important end screen. Because, like, most end credit scenes, like, they have something to do with it. Like, they set up the next film. Like, you know, in Iron Man 1, they were like, we want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. But it's not anything that, like...
Like, if you didn't see... Like, it doesn't usually hint at, like, super important plot points. It's just sort of, like, a little subtle, like, hint to the next movie. Like, the Avengers Initiative. It doesn't tell you what the Avengers movie is gonna be about. But then you can take a guess. Okay, there's gonna be an Avengers movie in the future. Like, the end of Infinity War when Nick used the pager and he dropped it to the floor and it was Captain Marvel's symbol. I didn't know what it was, but other people did.
Yeah.
And that was like... So then people were like, okay, there's gonna be a Captain Marvel movie then.
I think that one was probably the second most important one because, you know, it's such, like, an important movie, and then you're like, how the hell is anything gonna get fixed? And then they're like, Captain Marvel! And it's like, oh shit! But
she
still,
had
it's
very
like...
little to it.
She really helped him out, though, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She did. She did stop Thanos from, like, snapping his fingers that one time, which would have ended the whole universe again.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I think this is, like, the end screen that had changes the most. Like, not many like, I can't think of any end screens that, like, really make you go, like, that is, like, seriously change, like, the course of the film.
Yeah, again, they just sort of, like, a subtle nod to, like, this is what the next movie is gonna be. Like, Thor, like, the one that was, like, Agent Coulson seeing Thor's hammer.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was at the end of Iron Man 2. It's like, it doesn't, like, really change anything other than, like, oh, Thor. You know?
Yeah, but, like, this one, it's, like, it almost, like, it's not really, like, an end to, it's, like, it's not really, like, an end credit scene. It's, like, the end to the movie. Because it's, like...
It's like a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's like a cliffhanger.
It's like none of them create a cliffhanger. None of them, like, none of the end credit scenes have an effect on the plot. They're just, like, basically, like, this is what the next movie is gonna be.
And, you know, they might give you some extra context and extra information, but not anything that, like, you know, you wouldn't be able to understand the movie without. But unless
I'm sure in the next movie they're gonna, like, explain it.
I'm sure, but, like, it's, like, it really, like... It usually just, like, kind of tells you what, like, a little bit about the plot of the next movie that's coming out. It doesn't affect the completed arc of the movie that you just watched.
Yeah, it has...
And then this one was, like...
It usually has very little to do with the movie that you just played.
Yeah.
It's just... And it usually, honestly, doesn't have a whole lot to do with, like, the next movie. It's just sort of, like, a fun way of telling you what the next... Or, like, you know, what a movie that's coming out soon is going to be.
I think, actually, even more important than the Infinity War one, I think the only, like, one that really kind of gave you as much information about that, like, the only other one that I can think of that did that, and it didn't even do it to that extent that it is important, was Ant-Man and the Wasp. Because their end credit scene was Scott getting stuck in the quantum realm.
That's true. But that still doesn't even, like... You just don't, like, that also had a pretty big impact. That you don't, like, know at first, really.
Yeah.
Like, you just... It's just sort of like, hey, look at this nice lighthearted movie to forget about Infinity War. Oh, look, the looming gloom and doom of Endgame has returned. Hello. But...
It's back.
You forgot for a second, didn't you? But yeah, most of them are, like the one at Civil War... At the end of Civil War, which was just, like... Peter in his room turning on some, like, fancy Spider-Man tech. So then you're like, okay, the next movie's gonna be a Spider-Man movie. Like, you know, like, that's all it does. It doesn't, like, change anything, really. It just gives you a bit more information or gives you something, like, funny. But, like, it's nothing super important.
Yeah.
It's basically just, like, sneak peek of the next movie. That's what they always are.
And then this one was just, like, have a vital plot point.
It violently changed, yeah. Like, that... Like, you could have stuck the scene on at the end of the movie, and it would have felt pretty natural.
Yeah.
So there's that. I like how they made the Daily Bugle, like, just a sketchy news site.
They were like, hey, InfoWars?
Like, it's always, like, in the comics and in the other movies, there's, like, this weird... It's just a newspaper that just had this strange vendetta against Spider-Man for some reason.
Was it even against Spider-Man?
Yes.
Was it?
Yes.
I just know that it was, like... I demand pictures of Spider-Man.
They just, I mean, he did just have a weird obsession with Spider-Man, but it was like the guy who runs it, his name's like Jameson or some stupid shit like that. He was like,
Like, didn't they, like, make articles that kind of, like, framed Spider-Man as, like, a bad guy?
Yeah, like, he didn't like Spider-Man because he didn't like that he was, like, a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a fan of that.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of, like, framed him more negatively, and I like how they were just like, it's a sketchy, like, news site now. Because newspapers are irrelevant.
Yeah.
So sketchy news site it is.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely a good touch.
Yeah, he's not getting a break anytime soon.
I'm very excited to see where they go with this. I also, like, don't know what the next MCU movie is gonna be.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know. Like, it's weird. It's like, now Endgame is over, and then, like, after Endgame, we were like, okay, well, Far From Home's gonna come out, and it's gonna, like, explore the consequences of Endgame, and now that's over, and it's like, well, what are they doing now?
Captain Marvel, maybe?
Mayhaps.
The last end credit scene, which is usually, like, the funny one, you know, they have the mid-credits, which is usually stuff that, like, hints at the next movie. Or whatever, and then they have, like, the one at the end, which is usually something funny, and that was revealing that, Nick and Hill had been Skrulls the whole time, and at first, I thought it was just, like, saying that the, Agent Hill it was just a Skrull pretending to be a human, cause she was, like, just turned into a Skrull, and she's like, you gotta tell him. But, no, there was just that they were both Skrulls, pretending to be them while I guess they took a vacation.
Yeah, and then when they were both Skrulls, I was like, so did Nick die? And they replaced him with the Skrull while they figure out what the hell to do, and I was like, no, he's
and they said you have to tell them, they were like, you have to tell Nick Fury that you really fucked it up. Yeah, and then the dude was like, come on, it was really convincing. I did... You know, one thing that was kind of funny, though, is that I did kind of notice that Nick Fury was acting, like, a little differently than he did in a lot of movies. Mm-hmm. Like, he was always pretty, like, paranoid and, like, pretty, like, cautious. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like that was really, like, amplified in this movie. Mm-hmm. And I guess that was why.
Yeah. Because it was a Skrull pretending to act like Nick Fury, and they were like, what's Nick Fury like?
Paranoid. He's really paranoid all the time. There we go.
There you go. Merry Crisis.
And then Nick Fury was just sitting on a fake beach, and at first I thought it was I didn't know if it was supposed to be real beach, so I was like, that looks fake as shit, which probably means it's not supposed to be real. And I was right, it was just a screen and, like, a spaceship, and then he walks out and there's a bunch of Skrulls everywhere. So he's just, I guess after Endgame, just went with Carol back into space.
Yeah.
So I guess that means Captain Marvel's coming out soon. Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, I know there's gonna be a Black Widow movie.
Yes.
But it's just, you know, it's weird. It feels like it's like they hyped up, like, the road to Endgame was so absolutely bonkers, and then, you know, it happened, and then Far From Home was here to be like, well, let's pick up the pieces, and now it's like, well, we've picked them up, and now we're just standing...
Now what do we do?
Now we're just standing there holding them, and we don't know what to do with them.
So yeah, I'm happy that probably means that Nick Fury's going to be a character in Captain Marvel 2, because I never really thought about that. Like, you know, he was the main character in the first one. But I guess I never really thought, like, he would be in it again as a major character, but I'm really happy because, you know...
He's not, like, he's in so many of the movies, but, like, we didn't really get much of him until
a major
Captain Marvel.
In any
He's
of
just
them.
kind of like the guy in the
and
chair.
I really like him. I
really like him too.
Like, if he could be, like, a bigger character in, like, every movie, I wouldn't complain.
He's, like,
Not just every Marvel movie, just any movie.
He's just very funny, but then, like, kind of, but, like, still kind of, like, you know, a bad bitch at the same
He's, like,
time.
he somehow manages to be, like, a very serious-seeming character while being very funny all the time.
Yeah.
So I really like him, so I'm not gonna complain about him being in even more, being a major character in more movies. Let's put him in every movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was Spider-Man Far From Home. It was a ride.
It was a ride. We talked about this for longer than we thought we would.
As
But
usual.
it's a good movie.
It is.
I enjoyed it a lot. I love my boy Peter. Peter's in, like, my top 5 favorite superheroes.
He's in, like, my top 3.
Yeah, he is in my top 3. My top 3 are, like Doctor Strange and Iron Man are tied. For a while, Iron Man was in the lead, and then we found out about Doctor Strange, and then he was in the lead, and then Endgame happened, and now they're tied, and right now I'm kind of leaning more towards Tony, but that might just be because he's fresh on the mind. And then there's Peter, and I also really like Thor and Hulk.
We have the same favorite 3 superheroes.
What a surprise!
We're
But anyway,
similar. Wow.
I just really like Peter. I think they did a good job kind of following up on Endgame, answering some questions, kind of getting back to a level where you're not constantly fearing
Some level of normal for Marvel.
Yeah, so it was really good. I enjoyed it a lot, and that's all I gotta say.
Yee.
Yeehaw.